If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait. If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in. It's another episode of If You Ain't a Gator podcast, a part of the Stadium and Gale Network. We got quite a bit to talk about today. We're going to go over the Ole Miss game. We're going to go over the Lane Kiffin drama, the Tennessee game. We'll touch on some of the basketball things. We run the state in basketball. But yeah, we're just going to, we'll jump right into it. Kicking it solo this week. But just jumping right into it, we're just going to start off with the Ole Miss game. Just kind of doing a recap of that game, and they pulled out every single stop that they could to make sure that they could try to impress their coach. It's not like they haven't had enough time to do that already. They decided that right now was the time that they should do that, I guess. But yeah, I think that just looking at the game as a whole, I think it goes to show you that it doesn't really, I guess, fully matter who coaches this team. You have to be completely incompetent to not be able to coach the talent that is on this team, aka why Billy Napier is no longer here. This team is stacked with talent. We are missing 3 of our top receivers. We're still able to put points on the board. I think as for the crowd noise, I think a lot of that had to do with really good speaker system there, and that's just coming from just watching on the TV. But I'd guarantee that people that were there would agree with that. But just diving into the game and looking at that as a whole, I think missing VB3, missing Dallas Wilson, missing Trey Wilson. Trey Wilson's a big one, especially because of the way that he looked within the offense against Georgia with Billy being gone. You realize how much it hurt missing him. But yeah, just touching on that game, I think offense for the most part played outstanding. I think that we had everybody playing. This is a problem with this team, right? And I think it's been the problem with this tenure of this coaching staff and whatnot, is that we play to the talent level of who we're playing. Kentucky wasn't that good, and Kentucky just, they were just like a snowball rolling down the hill. They started getting going, and then they just kept going, and they just kept piling on. And we found a way to negate that by playing a really good Ole Miss team. It's crazy we played 2 top 10 teams better than we played a Kentucky team like that, or even a Mississippi State game. But, I think DJ really played I think he played pretty well. I think that his decision with the sidearm throw to throw it to Aiden Mizell, at the end of it, it got tipped and it got picked. I thought that was kind of a stupid decision. I mean, it's real easy to watch from a couch and to kind of, armchair coach somebody. But I feel like all he really needed to do was just flick it over the top. And instead he tries to get fancy with it and tries to sidearm it, that baseball style. I just don't understand it. But again, that's me talking from a couch and not me being, on the field. Shout out to the Gators Breakdown Discord. It has been a complete meltdown in there and then a complete party in there at the same time. It's crazy. But that was a stupid mistake. But I think as for that, just missing those key pieces, again, I think that DJ played very, very, very well in a way that we could keep Tramel Jones redshirt, in a way that he stayed within the game. I thought that the bomb down the field to J. Mike, I thought that was a beautiful pass and could have fooled me. I mean, he ain't look injured in that throw, but I think that Hayden Hansen should absolutely never see another snap for the Florida Gators. He should never touch the field again for us. He is hot garbage, and it is one of the most frustrating things in the world to watch him just not be in the right spot. And I get it. A lot of people are like, oh, well, DJ should have put it here. DJ should have put it here. It's like, no, this man is just, and then the 1 yard, pass that we throw to him, like, if we're going to throw a 1 yard route and try to have something happen out of it, why are we throwing it to him? It makes zero sense, but it's neither here nor there. We hung around in that game. Defense played lights out. Miles Graham is just, that man is going to be something special for the remainder of his college career. He's going to be something special when he makes it to the NFL. And I really do think that he has a long NFL career ahead of him. But yeah, it's just it mind blowing with the injuries we have on this team. And you look at that injury list. I get it. We all kind of talk about why are we putting the people who have season-ending injuries on there. That doesn't really bother me, I guess, like it bothers some other people. But it is what it is. They're there. The injuries are there, and they're not going to be playing. So I don't mind them putting it on there. It just shows you, like, this is how much more hurt we are than this team. So, again, as for the game, I thought we hung around. We played very, very well. We played together. Everybody, offense, defense, played together, did everything they needed to do. I said, watching that game, sitting there, whenever George Gums did the illegal hands to the face, and it ended up being put on the kickoff and not the yardage there, I said, we are going to get screwed later in this game. I'm telling you, I looked at my wife, I looked at my brother, I looked at my sister-in-law, and I said, I'm telling you right now, we're going to get screwed over later in this game. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. It's going to pop up. And sure enough, fourth quarter comes, and Jaden Ball gets blown up before the ball ever gets there. I don't want to hear a single Ole Miss fan say that ball, that he met him when the ball got there at the same time. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not Georgia. We don't have to use AI to argue a catch. He was there way too early. Should have been an automatic first down. Should have kept us moving down the field. But I just think that mistakes really shot us in the foot. But you can't argue it, man. You can't. This team, if you got to give Billy any kudos, is that he built a roster. He absolutely built a roster here. And again, whoever comes in and takes this over, if they can keep this thing intact, I mean, even if you can keep 70% of it intact, you are just absolutely just rolling from the jump. As long as you can put your scheme in there, you can put your touch on it and be a competent coach, I think that you really got something to work with here. You hit a gold mine when you come here. So, yeah, I mean, again, if DJ, I just need to see DJ play like that the rest of the year. Again, I said it weeks ago, beat FSU. I mean, I want us to beat Tennessee, of course, but you know that FSU game just means something. It means more. Do not let them come and plant a flag on our logo. Do not let them tear up our field. You have to go out there and defend that. But yeah, that's just kind of my take on the Ole Miss game. It's just not a lot to touch on. I thought it was a very well played game. And in all reality, if you look at that game, and I don't give any type of like awards for trying, but we hung around. We kept it close. With that being said, we know who was on the other sideline, and for obvious reasons, we got to talk about him. Is obviously Lane Kiffin, and shocker, we're talking about Lane Kiffin again on a Florida Gators podcast. But here's my thing with Lane Kiffin, and it's just kind of where I stand with it. You have to take it, all of this, just I see 1 second, the whole fan base is melting. Like, everybody is just like a volcano blew up and it's just erupting, and everyone is just losing their minds. And they're like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen here? Lane's going to LSU and he's not coming here anymore. And it's so funny to me because that same group of people, when something good happens, it's like, aha, look, that's the Jimmy Sexton special. Oh, look at the Jimmy Sexton special. He's doing this for this. But then the second bad news hits, it's like you forget that that's what he does. That is what he's good at. And I'm not saying this and saying that, oh, yeah, Lane's coming here. I don't know if Lane Kiffin is going to be our coach next year. But I do know that his agent is a master of his craft. I mean, he is the best of the best, and you can't argue it. Now, I will say there are a few telltale signs for me that makes me wonder. And now I'm going to give one side and then the other side when it comes to how I feel about it. James Franklin was holding out on taking a job because he was interested in the Florida job. That's obvious. So him holding out and then him now taking the Virginia Tech job is a sign there. Both Lane and Franklin are both, their agents are both Jimmy Sexton. So I'm telling you right now that Jimmy Sexton did not look at James Franklin and go, yeah, go ahead and take that job. Like, we'll figure out all this stuff over here and take the money that he took. Because he knows Florida's desperate. Florida's willing to pay more. Florida's willing to go grab a winner. So if they're willing to do that, he could have looked at James Franklin and go, hey, I can get you $2 million more a year from Florida than what Virginia Tech is going to offer you. That's that side of it, how I feel about it and why I feel pretty good as to like where we stand with it. On the opposite side of that, James Franklin could have said, hey, this offer is on the table. Virginia Tech is looking at other options. This is something I'm really interested in. I think that this is a conference that I can go to. This is a conference that I could really run if I wanted to. When I get recruiting and I get rolling in there, I don't want to wait anymore. So there's that side of it. But I'm leaning more towards the first part of that, is that Jimmy Sexton said, hey, this is looking like this is going to be Lane's job to lose. And I think that Florida was willing to work with Lane. Okay, yeah, we'll give you this, but you got to do this, this, and this. And I don't think it was fully going the way that Jimmy Sexton wanted it to. And he tossed LSU into the mix. I don't know if that's what happened, but it's what he does. He knows how to throw these smoke screens up. He knows how to make stuff happen. And we know that Layla and Knox were apparently in Gainesville. I don't understand the whole, who showed them around Gainesville talk. They're from here. So I don't understand that whole talk of that. But regardless, they were here. That's been all but confirmed. So them being here, right? And then all these different talks, no one really knew about that. A little bit got caught on to and a little bit was talked about. It wasn't put out there on the national media, but guess what was? The LSU one. And you mean to tell me that it wasn't something more from Jimmy Sexton? And then on top of that, you got this morning, right? And again, Jimmy Sexton is a master of his he's a master of it. He knows what he's doing. It's so, I mean, at the end of it all, even if we don't get Lane, you still got to give kudos to Jimmy. It's insane. But everybody knows, there's supposed to be this meeting with Florida and Lane today. All this stuff is supposed to happen, right? So all eyes are on that. And what just randomly pops up around noontime? What just randomly decides it's just going to, show face, right? A pre-recorded interview with Lane Kiffin. It randomly pops up. And he goes out and says, no, there was no ultimatum. There was no this. There was no that. And again, if you watch the interview, that doesn't look like a man who was being himself. It looked like someone who was trying to get a point across. So to me, I think that he's ours to lose, personally. Now, again, I'm going to point out one more thing for you. Yeah, I know Lane can't meet with Florida, but there's a lot of things that are against the rules and have been against the rules in the NCAA for years and years and years, and people find their way around it. But who is Pat McAfee's agent? His agency, I should say, is CAA. And guess who runs CAA? Jimmy Sexton. So the perfect person that goes live and he does his show daily. And what do? Hey, we need you to create a smoke screen. We need you to throw something out there so that we can weave our way around certain things. Again, I don't know. This is all just my brain grabbing a hold of this stuff and just telling you what I personally think. It just seems like it's what he would do. Um, Again, numbers wise, things that are going to be offered to Lane, I think there's a back and forth thing. And again, everybody loves to throw out there, well, Lane doesn't care about the money. Well, Jimmy does. Jimmy does. Why do you think he's as big as he is? Because that boy eats good every single meal. He loves it. He can't get enough of it. And I don't care if Lane likes it or not. He is going to make sure that every penny he can get is going to be there. I think what Lane cares about is the NIL money. He wants to be able to go and get the pieces that he wants when he wants them and put them out there into the playing field and do what he can with them. That's just how I feel. It's personally what I feel about all of this. Now, again, I know that LSU is obviously in the mix. LSU's there, and you knew they were going to be there. We knew that as soon as Brian Kelly got fired. One more thing I'm going to point out is Lane is very on point with certain things as well. I know he's a troll. I know that he does certain things, but he's a troll. Simple things, right? He posts a picture right before the Citadel, and he's got the Citadel's offensive plays like right in front of him, or defensive plays right there in the picture site. And when he talked about Florida in that interview, it was real quick. Oh yeah, just about Florida and just the game. Never talked about Florida, the job. Never even talked about the university in the sense of like anything that's going on, right? Or Billy Napier being fired. But what did he call out? He called out Brian Kelly being fired after a few losses, right? I think that he realizes everybody loves to say, oh, well, if he comes to Florida, if he doesn't have this many wins, he's going to get fired. He's going to be like, really? I disagree with that. We just let a piss poor coach for 3.5 years, I guess you'd say, absolutely just make this university and this football program look like it's never done anything in the history of this place. So you mean to tell me that he's not looking at the two? He's not looking at the two of those. Brian Kelly, who's bringing double-digit win seasons, gets let go. He gets fired, right? And he's looking at it. He's at Ole Miss. He's had double-digit win seasons. Has he made it to the playoffs yet? No. So it just doesn't add up to me. I get that he can look at LSU as like, oh, well, yeah, I can get players there. Okay. Well, you know where else you can get players? Florida. You know who else has given a very long leash to a coach that was trash? Florida. So let's chill just a bit on what we're saying when it comes to, oh, well, he'll go to Florida and he'll get fired. I mean, you can go point to the Mullen stuff, right? Oh, well, Mullen got fired too quick. No, he didn't. Everybody knows what was going down with Mullen and the way that everything was talked about. He didn't want to recruit. And people point out, oh, well, him and Billy Napier had like the same ranking of classes. You go show me how all those players that Mullen brought in, you tell me how many of them didn't make it to campus. Or how many, when they did make it to campus, they weren't vetted correctly, they weren't checked correctly, and they didn't end up playing. It's not the same class. It's not the same ranking. If you take them out of there, they're just still in there because they ended up going through with it. They don't get taken out. They just stayed committed and certain things happened. So, yeah, Mullen quit on the team. You could tell by the way that the whole everything went together. And so it's not a good argument. People, I see the argument on X. I see the argument on just all over the place. It's not a good argument. But when, again, go to here, we had a coach who brought players in. And again, he had a coach last year. Should have been fired. He should have been fired last year. And a terrible season. And still, Scott Strickland looked at him and said, we're going to give you another chance. So you mean to tell me if Lane comes in his first year, it's 9-3, right? Second year is, say, 9-3 again, because he's trying to get his footing in there. He's trying to get his people in there, whatnot. He's not going to hit the hot seat from Scott Strickland's point of view. It might be some uneasy fans and some starving fans that can't wait just a little bit. Now, do I think that happens? No, I think Lane comes, and I think Lane starts, just hits the ground running and starts crushing it. But um, I don't see the argument in the fact that we're gonna just, oh, he doesn't do good, so boom, he's gone. No, that's not the case. Um, Again, I think that a lot of this stuff is Jimmy doing it. At the end of the day, could he go to LSU? Yeah, maybe. It's not like we're arguing Florida, Ole Miss, and like Arkansas. We're not arguing the three of those. LSU is a sought after team. They have won a national championship more recent than we have. Again, I don't know if some of these numbers are real. Some of these numbers that we hear that LSU is tossing out there to them. Jimmy Sexton, you think Jimmy Sexton's going to look at you in the face and tell you the truth? You think he's going to look at Scott Strickland? Their own governor came out and said, we are not going to do a buyout like that again. So the numbers that are being thrown out there, you think he's going to go, yeah, we're not going to do that number. Well, we'll double or triple it. No, that's mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing that you would think that they're going to do that again. He said that. He goes, we're not going to do that to the people of this city. It's not going to happen. So that's just where I stand on it. I think that at the end of the day, I don't think that Ole Miss has the money to match what we are willing to go to. And I'm hoping we hear something soon. Do I think that he wants to coach the playoffs? Yes. Do I think that we'll end up letting him coach the playoffs? Yes. I think that there has to be an announcement. I think that that's going to be our one side. We're giving you everything. Every single thing you want, you're getting it. The one thing that we want is we want to announce it the day after the Egg Bowl, the day your regular season is over. And I think that's perfect. I don't see a problem in that. Announce it. You have a few weeks until the start of the playoffs. Your fans are going to be pissed off for a little bit. Then they'll get over it because guess what? They see the opportunity right in front of them to be able to possibly go to a national championship and possibly win it. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they won't. But they have that chance to because they're in the dance for it. But I think that's a perfect reason there. You get the money you want. You get the NIL you want. You get all you want. Your staff is your staff. You can fire whoever's on this staff right now, and you can hire whoever you want to this staff right now. Don't care. That's all yours. The only thing we ask is that you let us announce it because we want to get it in place for the recruits, and we want to get it in place for the transfer portal. That's all we want. And we want to have our players that are currently here to be able to rest easy. I think that's a fair deal. And if I'm Lane Kiffin and I know, hey, they're giving me X amount of NIL and Ole Miss cannot match that, I'm shaking on it right there. Tell me where I signed my MOU and let me finish out this season. And hey, I'll see in a little bit. I'll see in a few, a month and a half, 2 months. But that's just how I feel about it. Who knows? The problem is that you're dealing with Lane Kiffin. You're dealing with he's a wild card. At the end of the day, that's what he is. No one has any idea. I don't know that Lane Kiffin wakes up and knows what he's going to do. He might know, okay, I have this and this and this on the schedule, but I have no idea in between that what is going to happen with me. Anybody can agree with that. Florida fans, Ole Miss fans, LSU fans. He is a wild card, and he goes to the beat of his own drum. So I don't think that he has to have an announcement soon in the sense of Ole Miss, because I think Ole Miss has who they want as their next head coach on staff already. I mean, it's been pretty obvious. I think that they want Golding to be their head coach. I don't know if that's who the fans want, but I think that's what the plan is. I think that that's who they want to be their coach. I think that maybe they've had some talks with him without Lane around. Is that, hey, is this something you're interested in? So they hold more cards in their hand than us, that they go, okay, they need to find a coach, but we don't because ours is already on staff and we're going to hire him. I don't know if that's true. I don't know, but I have heard things of that sense. But yeah, that's really that on the Lane Kiffin deal. Do I think he comes? I have zero idea. No idea. All I know is I am ready for this to just be done and over with. I want to hire a coach and I want to move forward because it is all you read on X. It's all you read on the forums and on the discords. And I mean, it's all it is. No one, I mean, it's insane. If you go talk to a Gators fan right now and say, what's happening this week in Gators football, all of it's going to be about Lane Kiffin. No one's even going to talk about the fact that we played Tennessee in the swamp this Saturday. Like, I mean, I'm ready for it to go back to normal, to be brutally honest. But do I hope that that's with Lane Kiffin? Obviously. It would be dumb to say that it's not, because that's who obviously 3 teams want. There's other teams that want him. I think they just know they don't have a chance. Like in Arkansas, they know they're not going to get in the mix. Auburn, they don't want to cross that path again. They don't want to do that to their fans. But there's a lot of teams that would take him, but I think that there's 3 in the mix. Obviously has a lot of love for Ole Miss. If he stays there, you can't knock him for doing that. I mean, they turned him into who he is right now, and he loves it there. Again, if he goes to LSU, can you really knock him? You can knock Scott Strickland because he didn't match whatever LSU was going to match unless he can completely prove, hey, I matched them penny for penny, everything for everything, and he just decided that LSU is better for him. But again, that's that. I just personally, again, I think if it's me and I'm Ole Miss, and I talked about this before, and I'll say it again right now. If I'm Ole Miss, right, what I'm doing is I want an answer right now. Next week is Egg Bowl prep. That is their Florida State. What Florida State is to us, Mississippi State is to them. So if that's going to be if you're not going to let him now, if you're going to let him coach through the playoffs, even if he takes another job, fine, let it all play out. It's all going to be fine. But if you decide in your heart that you're like, yeah, we're not letting him coach the playoffs, then you need to go ahead and do it. And that's not even me being impatient. That's just me talking as like if I'm the AD of Ole Miss, go ahead, get it done. Obviously, Mississippi State is not the best this year. It's still a rivalry, but they're still. I think that I could probably go coach, or I could at least go be the head coach and let Charlie Weiss Jr. lead the, calling plays. But I just don't, I guess I don't understand if you're not going to let him coach. Now, if you're going to let him, fine. Let it be. Let it all play out, and Lane will lead you through the playoffs, and we'll just see where it goes when it goes. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. It is what it is. But that's just like my rant on that whole shindig there, I guess you'd say. I will say, I need us to do whatever we can do to possibly get Lane, because he's obviously a great fit for the University of Florida. Great offense, trash talker. I want a coach that at halftime of a random game that we're beating our team, that if FSU is getting beat, that he is trash talking FSU at halftime. I love that. I'm all for that. But again, if whatever is going to happen, I'm just ready for it to happen, and I'm ready for this to get over that hump. And I think that I think we're doing our due diligence. Just things I've been reading, things I've been seeing. It looks like all of this stuff is starting to iron itself out, and we're going to have more information. Again, I still think that it's after the Egg Bowl. Now, would I be shocked if something comes out before that? No. But again, I think if you're an Ole Miss fan, the fact that all of this stuff is still going on, and you're in a bye week and everything, and he still hasn't touched an extension, I think that's a problem. But yeah, that's just my 2 bits, I guess you'd say, on the Lane Kiffin saga, the Lane Kiffin drama. And that's that. So I don't know. We obviously heard on, if you guys listen to Stadium Gale, I listened to it the other night, that now Lincoln Riley has been vetted, and that is an option. Now, is that the first option? Obviously not. We know who option 1 is. I don't know if Lincoln Riley's option 2. Would my brain, looking at just the coaches that I've seen, show that, yeah, he would probably be option 2? I would certainly hope so with the other ones that are on that list. But outside of that, I think it gets very, very shaky when it comes to who our next coach is going to be. And I think it gets shaky. I think that's the 2 coaches right there that if you bring them into the University of Florida, I think that they could keep the current roster intact for the most part. It doesn't matter who you bring in. You bring in Lane, you bring in Lincoln, you could bring in whoever. Still, some of them are going to leave because they want to go get playing time. And they do know that, okay, this new coach is going to bring in some of his own guys. He's going to hit the transfer portal. He's going to bring people in. And that's possibly going to push me back. So I'm going to go seek playing time elsewhere. It's going to happen. You're going to see people exiting the program. It's going to happen. But again, that's just my 2 cents. Other news that I can confirm to you and 100% guarantee you is that at 7:30 in the Swamp this Saturday, we are playing the Tennessee Volunteers. I don't know who our next head coach is going to be, but I can tell you right now, our interim coach is Billy G, and him and the boys in the orange and blue are going to go out there and try to beat the snot out of that ugly burnt orange. I can tell you that right now. That's a guarantee. I can promise you that is going to happen. I don't know what to think about this matchup. I don't think that Tennessee is this outstanding team. I do hope that going into this game, I hope that every single person that was on the team last year remembers what it felt like to go into Tennessee last year and to lose that game the way we lost it. Should we have went for 2 last year? Probably. I think you ride the momentum, and you weren't supposed to beat them anyways. And I think that you go in there and you really try to, go for 2, try to beat them. Again, can't reverse time, but I can tell you that you go into this week and you remember that. I hope I hope they replay that. If you're a real coach and a coach that really wants to show them, replay that game and make them all watch parts of it. Watch the highlights. Watch yourself lose. Watch every one of your faces turn around and that you're heartbroken by that, right? And go into this week and try to smack these boys. Do not let them come into the Swamp and try to destroy us. Now, here's where my problem lies. We have not had very good safety play. Jordan Castell has been absolutely trash this year and last year. I mean, he went from freshman year here and it just progressively went down. But they like to throw the ball deep and they like to put the ball in the air. My concern with that is our safety play and the fact that we are so hurt at corner that you're going to need your safeties to help. And I just don't know how that's going to play out. I think that if we can play back, if we can put the safeties into a deeper set and we can keep that play in front of us, we have a better chance. Now, if Tennessee's constantly getting behind us and they're constantly banging out these huge plays, or because our safeties are backed up, that they're just dicing up that middle, and it's got, Ron Roberts and that whole defensive crew just absolutely schematically confused, we could be in for a long night. That's been one of our kryptonites. It's just stopping that. If you watch the game on Saturday, Trinidad just kept dicing it up the middle. I mean, he was just finding them, boom, boom, boom. And I think that Tennessee has that ability to do that too. With that being said, I do think that Tennessee has been prone to make mistakes. And I think that you just have to stay within that game with them and wait for that mistake to be made. Wait for them to throw that pick or wait for them to just mess up. But you have to be able to counter on that and not mess up yourself, because we have done that to ourselves too. Obviously, we were in a boat race with Ole Miss. And what happens? Boom, sidearm throw, gets tipped, gets picked. And then it was like momentum shifted, like crazy shifted. So, that's that. But I do, the corners, I mean, you might cash you an NFL check this weekend, or you might come severely drop in stock for, NFL stock due to this game. I just think that you're going to have, just like your last 2 games, you're going to have completely opposite games. you got someone that's going to sit there and try to just sling it downfield to the receivers. Whereas, in 2 weeks, you're going to have a quarterback that likes to take off and is basically a running back at the quarterback position. But right here, let me see. And I'm ready to move on from it. I disagree with that. I think that Cormani is frustrated, and I think people handle stuff differently. And I think if the offense provided a little bit more, I don't think he'd be as lazy as you think. I think he would do more out there. But I think that you saw the defense again against Kentucky. I think they got complacent and they got tired, and they're like, man, they're not going and scoring for us, so we're not going to keep sitting out here and laying our hearts out on the line. We're not going to keep putting our bodies on the line and doing all of this for an offense that can't score. We're out here just absolutely stopping like an LSU team from scoring on us. We're keeping this thing close as much as we can while our quarterback's going out there throwing interception after interception after interception. Like, I don't know as it's much of like a laziness thing as much as it is a frustration thing. Again, I watched him play at Lakeland High School, and I watched an offense there that couldn't really score, and you kind of seen a little bit of the same frustrations. You kind of see, now I will say he's definitely a changed person, because when he was at Lakeland, he got frustrated and he would sling someone out of bounds and throw them into the bench or all kinds of crazy stuff. So he has grown, but I do think it's frustrating. You go out there and you put yourself on the line, you put all that out there, and if you don't get anything in return for it, yeah, sometimes it is frustrating. That's human nature. So I want to see what we do. I want to see how our trenches play. I think that our O-line needs to show up the way they showed up against Ole Miss and keep Lagway upright. I want to see more shots down the field. If DJ can throw that, let's scheme it up and let's do that. I don't understand when we go 5 wide, 11 personnel, go 5 wide. It works. It's consistent and it's working. And then it's like, I think this is a problem with like a Billy G and just a Ryan O'Hara and just this group as a whole. It's like, it's almost like they see it and they get like a little nervous, like, oh, that's working, but I don't, let's pull back a little bit. Let's go back to what we know. Let's get back into this little shell here. And it's like, no, pour it on. Go out there and just absolutely try to put your foot on their necks. And you put these athletes wide. There's athletes everywhere. Everywhere there's athletes. Go out there and continue to, Abrams played great in the first half. Played great in the first half. And then we just stopped going to him. Like, second half, just stop going to him. Like, I don't understand. The only time I saw us like really go 5 wide is when on 4th and 9, we decided it was a great idea to just go all verts, I guess, and just said, yeah, everybody run down the field and DJ will find someone down there, when all you really needed was 9 yards. But I'd like to see 5 wide, and I want to see more schemes and just more route trees to where it can open more up. And I think DJ will feel more comfortable in that, honestly. Now, again, I'll backtrack on that and I'll say this. Maybe the reason we don't go 5 wide more is because DJ doesn't know how to go through his reads. I don't know if that's something that he knows how to do, personally. From the looks of it, to me, it looks like he doesn't know how to go through those. I don't know. But I would like to just see it and just try until it's proven not to work. Even if his first read is open on that 5 wide, it works out here. And just tell him, like, hey, this is where you're going to look. And then if you need to just go to option 2 and the other guys are just dummy routes. Don't care, but you got to do something to keep up with this offensive firepower. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. We need to defend the swamp. I'm real tired of people coming into the swamp, scoring touchdowns, and doing the Gator chomp on us. Like, I am so sick of seeing that, because it is just something that, like, we are not, the swamp almost feels like it's not feared anymore. It's still rough to be in there. It's loud. And I can tell you one thing, Florida, Tennessee is going to be loud in there, because it's a night game and people are going to be tailgating from early in the morning until the game starts. They're going to be tailgating because we're not Ole Miss. We don't start tailgating at 3:30, 4 p.m. before a 6 p.m. kickoff their time. It's going to get rowdy, but again, you're going to have to keep up with it. Heupel's teams they're going to score some freaking points. So 17, 10, 14, that scoring wise, it's not going to work. If that's the score, you're going to get absolutely slapped in the mouth, just like we did against Kentucky. But I hope Vernell Brown is back. I'd love to see him back in there. Caleb Banks, I'd love to see him in there unless he's just not 100%. If he's not, give him one more week and let him just unleash him against FSU and just unleash him, let him go out there and just try to absolutely ragdoll them boys. But yeah, I mean, that's that. I think that Tennessee is going to be it's going to be tough. It always is. Always. Just like last year. We went into their house and we competed. They're going to come in ours and they're going to compete. It's just going to be, can we keep up with them and can we get up? And you saw it, Georgia and Kentucky. Georgia, we gave them our all. And then Kentucky comes and it's almost like, okay, we gave all that energy. And then it's just like, it was so lackadated that nobody cared. Nobody tried. And we got absolutely smacked off that field. Well, then, okay, it's like, well, we don't want to be embarrassed. So then what do? Step in and play Ole Miss and we compete. It's like, well, you can't wait. You cannot sit there and you can't play sloppy against Tennessee. Because I'll tell you right now, if you come out there sloppy, they're going to throw a 50-yard bomb the first play of the game and they're going to take it to the house. The first play of the game. So that's that. I just hope we can get it done. But yeah, I'm going to open it up for just some questions if y'all have any before I get off here. If you have anything you want to ask, anything you want to say, I will answer them. Just so y'all know, now on the channel, you can now become a member. That should be down here. It's unlocked a lot of different things. I haven't actually even fully looked at it, but it is on there to become a member, and that opens up different things. What I am going to do, and if you're watching this and you want to do it, that's fine. If not, that's cool. Maybe people will listen to this back. But the first 2 people that become members on my channel of the sophomore level or higher, if you become a sophomore level on here, I'm going to send you a free hat or a free shirt. If you're higher than that, if you go to the Heisman level, I'm going to send you free hat and free shirt, and I'm going to give you a discount from now until ever on the website for the merch. So just throwing that out there, becoming a member, that's what I'm going to do there for you, and, send you out a hat, shirt, whatever you want. We can connect connect through social media and figure that out for you. But let me see. BB3 reminds me of a Gator. Tony. Yeah, I think that Vernell Brown is very, very special. I think he is a very special individual, and I think that he stays. I think he sticks. I think that he's always just dreamed of being a Gator. I think he's going to do what he does no matter who the coach is, and I think he knows that his future's bright. But yeah, I don't know that it necessarily reminds me of a Kadarius Toney. I don't know. I think he's good. He's extremely talented, and I think that as he gets older, I think you're going to see him grow even more. Like he stays his senior year, I think you're going to see him really be something special. Yeah, Eugene Wilson kind of reminds me of Kadarius Toney. I mean, we haven't got to really see him shine like that. Also, Dubster, I really appreciate that, bro. You don't have to do that regardless, but I was just throwing it out there for everybody because I didn't announce it last week when I got this unlocked, but I wanted to throw that out there this week so that everybody knows that it's not just, nothing coming with it. But Eugene Wilson, Kadarius Toney was special. I think that he was special in his own way, but there's not a lot like him. A lot of people try to compare Kadarius Toney to Percy Harvin, and I didn't understand that either. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's going to be a special one too. Oh, let's go, Gator Tim. Thank you, bro, for coming a member. Message me if you have me on Instagram or X or just wherever you have me at. Message me. Let me know if you want a shirt or a hat. And just let me know your size, and we'll work out those details, and I'll get your address and get it shipped out to you. I really appreciate it, bro. Like, truly, it means a lot. Truly means a lot. Yeah. So I also saw, put this on here. I saw they've been following Lane. Now I will say Lagway I saw was recent. I saw that was a recent follow that he followed Lane. I don't know what for. I mean, obviously we look at that and we look at it as a good sign. I saw that Miles Graham is following him. I saw that like Fletcher was following him, but you have to also look at it and see that like these players follow coaches and coaches follow players like through the recruiting time. So I don't know when that following happened. But I mean, it doesn't hurt. They followed him for a reason. They liked him for a reason. They haven't followed every coach that they spoke to. So that is a plus. But I do like that, and I saw that the high school also followed Knox. I would like to have seen Knox follow. I'd like to see Knox follow back, but he probably understands that would be really silly, number one, for him to do that while they're on a run through football right now. They still got a game this Friday. And also his mom and dad probably told him, like, hey, don't follow back. Even if they're planning on coming. Like, even if they've had talks as a family and said, hey, like, we're going to go to Gainesville. Like, I'm going to be the head coach of the University of Florida, but they still don't follow them yet. You need to wait. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Dubster, listen, bro, listen, all that, just the commenting, likes, subscribing, like all that stuff, that means the world to me, bro. It does not even becoming a member is amazing, and I'm super appreciative of all of it. But even just the comments, all of that stuff is just huge, bro. So don't even stress it at all. You don't gotta stress it one bit. But Knox top 3 Oregon, LSU, and UF. Yeah, I saw that. I've also saw that he doesn't want to play for his dad. So, who knows? That might change if his dad's the head coach of the University of Florida. Maybe saying that while his dad's the head coach of Ole Miss. If his dad's the head coach of Florida, maybe he wants to follow, in the footsteps of the bloodline and wants to play quarterback there. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I don't want Lane to come here just for Knox. Knox can pave his own path. We want his pops here. That's who we want. I was at the LIU game. Yep. I took my son up there for his first ever game in the Swamp. Well, actually, his first ever Florida game in general. But yeah, I was up there sweating my butt off up there. And you know what's crazy? I think I knew then that this season was going to get weird, right? Because plays were happening, and I'm sitting here. My cousin is sitting a few down from me because he brought his boys to their first ever game, and certain plays were happening, and we looked over at each other and we're given that look of like, what is this? Like, what are we watching here? Like, this looks terrible. Like, this looks trash. Like, yeah, we're scoring, but it's because we got better athletes on our team. But as for like the way the game was going, I'm like, what is this? The way DJ was throwing back, like overthrowing players, I was like, what is this? Yeah, I couldn't. Remember when they said Lane would crawl over glass to come to Florida? He hasn't signed, so that tells me he ain't coming. Okay. Listen. I'm not saying that Lane is going to come to Florida, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm also not, I guarantee you that if Ole Miss was not in playoff contention, there would be no argument. There would be no debate. There'd be none of this. It would be Florida or LSU. And honestly, LSU got into it so late that Florida would probably already have him. He has a team he wants to coach. So I think he's playing this perfectly if that's what he wants to do. He's not really talking. He wants to coach this team in the playoffs. Now, does he want to stay there? It doesn't really seem like it. If he wanted to stay there, he'd have just signed the extension. But as for he'd crawl over glass, like, I think that us as Gators fans were super impatient, and I understand that. I'm impatient too. I would love for Lane to just come out today on Pat McAfee show and say, I'm going to be the head coach of the University of Florida. Ole Miss, you can kick rocks. I don't care what y'all do. You go win the Natty, cool. If not, whatever. But I'm leaving right now, and I'm coaching the University of Florida for Tennessee and Florida State, and then for the remainder of 15 more years. We'd obviously love that, but that's not going to happen. He has a desire to make it to the playoffs. I think that he sees the chatter of, well, he hasn't made the playoffs yet. Well, now he's about to. And I think that there's just more to it than just like crawling over glass. Maybe this is the what he wants. And maybe Jimmy Sexton is more so the one pushing him with the money side of it. But at the end of the day, this is what he's going to take. It's just Jimmy is doing all he can to get more out of it. And once this Ole Miss run is over, he'll be our head coach next year. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that's my rant on that. LIU is your first game, Dubster? That's sick, bro. I hope you had a blast, man. There's nothing like being in the swamp. The swamper said, yeah, listen. That's the thing about it too, is I can tell you one thing is that Lane would never come here and have to beg fans to show up. I mean, shoot, I live almost I live like 3.5 hours away or so, 3 hours away from the swamp. And we take the trip up there a couple times a year. It always is packed in there. It's always loud. And I'll tell you what, it ain't got to take a whole lot for it. Even if we don't sell out, it's still gonna be louder than they were because they got a Texas high school stadium at that point. But it is what it is. We're sitting back laughing and having fun watching and listening to all these Florida dreamers thinking Kiffin is leaving Ole Miss. I'm glad that you know that. I didn't realize that you had Lane Kiffin's number and for a fact that he's not leaving. If you do have that text message or, where y'all talked about it, send it to me. DM it to me. Year-old to his first game against USF. Oh, so crazy story, which is really wild, is that is the game that we were supposed to take my son and then my two little cousins, my cousins, two boys too. And we ended up, because of, timing things, we ended up going to the LIU game. And I am so glad that we did that. Let me see. Was that the top? No, I wasn't. We actually did our own. It wasn't like a Iffy and a Gator tailgate. It actually ended up kind of being that. But when we go up there, we actually hang out at the elementary school that's up there. The name of it's slipping my mind. But we go tailgate over there. But I would like to go up there like next year. I'd like to, get by to some of those and hang out with them. But yeah, sold out Tennessee game. We're 3-7. If not Lane, then who? I don't know. I mean, Lincoln Riley is obviously a name. I don't know after watching some of his recent games how happy I am with that. But, I think if you get a Lincoln Riley to come in, I think that there's got to be some serious talks about who a defensive coordinator is going to be. You can have the offense, but you do not have the keys to have the defense of this. Tennessee is going to spread us from sideline to sideline. Yeah, I mean they're going to move us around a lot. It's going to get rough. I live 8 hours away. No season tickets. Nothing like it, bro. The environment is just absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, it was always packed out. I will bet you $10,000 cash he's not leaving, and we can let someone buy us. Hold the money. Let's see how confident you are. Listen, I don't know if you didn't listen to any of this or if you're just in here to troll. That's fine. But again, I have called Lane a wild card. I never once said that Lane was coming here. You are the one who said that Lane is staying there, hands down, boom. So if you are so confident, then let's do it this way. You send $10,000 cash to Rolling with Carlos. I will get Rolling with Carlos's information. You send him the $10,000. And if you're right, he'll send you the money back. If not, you can send it to me. Shoot, I'll get 5,000 to Carlos and I'll keep 5,000. But I never once said that I was confident that he's coming. I simply said that he's a wild card and I don't know what he's going to do. That's all there is to it. But if you're so confident, go ahead, put that money up. I'll be cool with it. And that's if he goes to Florida or LSU. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it. But are you? Yeah, I got you, Dubster. I'll send you some too. But I don't think Heath is listening to me, but that's all right. It is what it is. I'm not going to keep going back and forth. Heath, listen, if you want to send $10,000 to bet, again, I will make sure that someone in this chat will hold on to the money, or I'll find somebody that you agree on and we can both do. And if he doesn't come, then you can have your money back, every penny of it. And then if he does come, send it to me and I'll split it up between me and some of the people in here. But that's that. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, just touching on some of the different things. The Ole Miss game, it sucks to lose games. It sucks no matter who the coach is, interim coach, whatever. It sucks to lose. But, that's what happens. But hung in there and did all we could. But, participation awards don't get handed out around here. You still took a L. Lane Kiffin drama, all of that's unfolding. But you heard it here first. Breaking news. He's staying at Ole Miss. Heath said so. So on to our next coaching search. We'll see who's next. But, it is what it is. But, yeah, let's try to beat Tennessee. Smack the Volunteers this week. We don't like them. That's all there is to it. Smack Tennessee, and let's move on to FSU and smack them boys too, and just protect the swamp for these last two. That's what I need to see from Billy G. Get that word across and just say protect the swamp. Play for the patch and protect the swamp. That's what I want to hear. But I appreciate you guys. As always, it's always about the orange and blue. It's always go Gators forever and always. You guys know how we end it here. If you ain't a Gator, y'all know the rest.